Volunteering for your local fire or EMS department is your opportunity. Join a family that will serve with you, always have your back, and train you to be the best version of yourself. As a volunteer, you will meet new people, learn new skills, and make a meaningful impact. Learn more at makemeafirefighter.org. That's makemeafirefighter.org.
News Talk 1250 AM, KBRF, Fergus Falls.
News Talk 1250 KBRF now presents The Coaches Show with Craig Olson. Brought to you by Nelson Auto Center, Quality Toyota, LB Homes, American Federal Bank, American Legion, the Minnesota Motor Company, and by the Arneson Agency. Here's KBRF Sports Director Craig Olson.
Well, good morning and welcome to the Coaches Show. This is Mark Johnson because Craig Olson is down in the Twin Cities receiving an awesome honor, Minnesota Basketball Coaches Association Hall of Fame induction. And at the top of the hour, 9 o'clock, we're going to play an interview that David Bishop conducted early with Craig and talk about that. We'll talk about that some more, too. And I'm joined by Nikki Weldy, girls cross-country coach for the Otters. And, wow, great honor for Craig. And, you know, Nikki, when I first moved to Fergus in the mid-'90s, I kept hearing this name, Craig Olson. I'm like, who is this guy? I got to meet this guy.
Right, yeah.
And later on, ended up doing some business together and also was a great friend. But
he's great. He's done so much for, local sports and everything. It's just amazing.
Yeah. So we'll hear that interview at 9 o'clock. But, hey, we're going to talk some cross-country. It's great to be here with you today. Talk about your performance here in the section meet. But we do have a qualifier for state in Cassie Wellman. And
yes.
She just continues to run well. But let's talk about that meet.
Yeah. It was, she wanted to, of course, challenge this Lauren Eilers from, Wilmer. And at conference, they battled. And it was so exciting. It was maybe the most exciting finish I've seen in cross country. She had the lead, and Lauren closed up the gap, probably about 20 meters of it, right in front of the finish line crowd, and they were just racing neck and neck to the end, and it was 0.05 of a second between them, and Lauren got her. Unfortunately, but they were chips that you record their time, and there's a mat at the finish line, and it had rained, and the girls were leading so hard, to get across in front of each other, that Lauren, when she stepped on the mat, she slipped and fell just completely somersault, just a huge fall, and the crowd just reacted, and it was just really, they gave everything. It was so dramatic. It was both of them, just what a finish. Yeah.
Have you ever seen a finish that close in cross country? I mean, that close?
Not like, no, 500ths. I mean, we didn't know, and it's live results, and they had them both listed to the 10th, and they were, tied. Mm-hmm. And then, so you went and asked, and they said, yeah, we're just recording it that way right now, but we go to the 1,000th, so yeah.
Just with that, give our listeners the idea of how long is the race, as far as miles or kilometers.
Yep, it's 5K, so 3.1 miles, and and we're at different points in the course, and to see her, she's leading at this point, and then Lauren's leading. It was just a battle the whole time.
Is that a tough course at Detroit Lakes?
Yeah,
kind of like ours with some hills.
It is, and they've got a couple of really big hills, and so, but our kids, they know this course, and we talk about it, and most of them are just like, no, it's fine. I don't mind racing there.
Talk about the rest of the team, finishers, on the team. You guys ended up, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4th place, but boy, you got Perham, awesome team.
Yep.
Alexandria as well, but talk about the rest of the finishers.
For the team. Teams. We were 7th actually.
Okay.
Yep. It was we knew Perham and Alexandria were going to be out there. I mean, they just dominated the race, and that made it kind of easy to watch. Where our girls were going to be, because they take the top 2 teams, but then they take the next 6 individuals that aren't on one of those teams.
Okay.
So we had some, runners, gearing for that. So, but you've got Wilmer out there, they always perform well. And we had been, at conference meet, we were kind of, trying to see, can we chase them down and claim that, spot and from them. And there's a lot of competition, and our section has changed over the years. When we went to 3 classes, there's some teams that we had never seen, and they're really south of us, and we don't see them very often. So there were a lot of new kids, but with everything so digital, we run virtual meets, and you follow kids, and so you kind of know where everybody's at.
Yeah, but so exciting for Cassie to go back to the state meet.
Mhm.
Just talk about, a lot of times, runners are really, in their younger years, and sometimes it changes,
Yeah.
but she's really continued to improve and get better.
Yeah, every season she came in ready to go. I mean, like I've never seen her. She worked so hard this summer, and not that she hasn't worked hard other summers, but there was just something about her. She's very particular. She has goals, and she wants to meet them, and she keeps improving them each year. And so it was really just from the get-go, first practice, you could just see it that she was ready. Yeah.
Just talk about some of your other runners as well. Coming up in these next years, you have some good young runners too to build on.
Yeah, Carson Lill is an 8th grader, and talked a little bit about she doubled in tennis and in cross country, and tennis was her primary sport. Her mom is the coach, so you gotta understand that. But but it was just a really good working relationship, just with managing her time, and she did a great job, everything we needed, and we really we're talking with her about, she was really on the cusp of making one of those top 6 spots.
Wow, yeah.
And there were 15 seconds between 5th and 11th. It was just anybody's kind of a day. Anything can happen. And so she was watching certain girls, and we were all over the course. Coaches, we spread out, and we were telling her where she was in the mix. We knew Alec and Pearl would be out there, and so then you don't count them. And at one point she was running in 4th, and then 5th, and she was going into the 2 mile. She did everything she could do. She gave everything, and just so close. She was two places off of going. So the taste is there. She's an 8th grader, and she has so much ahead of her. We've had other other runners that have been in that place. Cassie's been in that place. We're just on the cusp. My son has been in that place. It's like you're there, and hopefully that drives you. And I know it will. She's a gamer.
And you got some great runners too: Savannah Lee and Julie Anderson, Allie Brendenberg, Lydia Ugerud, Violet McCon. Talk about some of those gals.
Yeah, those girls. Savannah and Julia have just been just so consistent on the team. That's 3rd and 4th spot, and working so hard and coming into the season again prepared. All these kids, it was amazing. Savannah, very goal oriented and very just driven to do that. She's just super hyper focused, and so she's had just an amazing season. Julia running right with her, and that's just so we just know we can count on them, and that's just really, really fun. Allie Bradenberg also doubled tennis, did a great job of managing the 2 of them, and really came on into that 5th spot for us. So that was fun to see her success when she kind of was able to focus on one thing, and she's been coming on. Lydia Ugerud and Violet McCon both, but all the way to 7, we were solid. There was just no question that they were there, and both had great races. And you rely on those 6th and 7th runner, because if something happens, anything is cross country, so you're out all over the course. So many things can happen, and they're just right there close, and so that was really important.
Yeah. Talk about what's next for Cassie then, coming up as far as the state meet and everything. Yeah.
Yep. So we run at the University of Minnesota at Les Polstead.
I've been there many times.
Yeah.
My wife golfed there.
Oh, sure.
I've walked that course many times.
Right.
Yeah. So this Thursday,
no, well, it's on Saturday.
Saturday.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll go Friday, and then they can get on the course and walk the course, and check it out and just get settled in. And this is not a new experience. It was a new course for her last year, because they had just moved it there. So, she kind of now she knows it. It's like, I've been there, I've done this. And so, I know she has really great goals, and we look forward to a lot of wonderful things that can happen next week. So,
yeah. Hey, can we talk about the boys a little bit too?
Absolutely.
Really super exciting.
Yeah.
A conference title.
Yeah.
Finishing 2nd in the section, but talk about the season that they had as well.
Yeah. And you talk about these boys coming in prepared. They're thinking cross country all year, and it's like, and track. So but they're just they've been together since 7th, 8th graders, and they're very senior heavy, that group, and they've just been so much fun to work with and so amazing. It's just going to really be I say it'll be so sad to see them go, but yet looking at some of these young runners coming up and where they're doing, how they're dropping time, it's really exciting. They'll be able to step in, and it's going to be their event. They'll be commanding it and everything. But you have Logan Bradenberg, Jaden Miller, and those two kind of flip-flop spots, at the race the other day, and that was a battle at the finish between those two.
That's
also,
crazy.
it was kind of fun to see.
You push each other, though, right?
Right, exactly. And so when when I'm watching the boys, and you on paper they should really have every chance. It should be just fine, but you always worry. And so you're watching runners come in, and there's a couple guys, and I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that guy, or there's one. I go, where are our guys? And then boom, boom, they just come in just so tight, and it's like we're all 7 of us are in, just like that. It's like I was worried for what.
What an awesome thing, to win the conference. That's a huge feat in the CLC, isn't it? I don't care what sport it is.
It is. There's AAA teams in there, and big schools, and the boys wanted that so much, and they put a lot of miles on, and it's a huge honor, and I think that's the tougher one out of the two to make it, to get that, and it was really exciting. So
in that Brandenburg finished 12th, Jaden Miller 13th, Michael Schmidt 15th. Wow,
I know, they're tight.
Henry Greeneagle 17th, and 22nd for Brody Nelson, 23rd Sam Rasmussen, 35th Mike Mauser. That's crazy.
It is.
I wonder if they're visiting when they're running.
I know.
I know they're not.
Right.
Yeah.
I know, but they see each other, so it's nice. It's so nice because they can gauge. Hey, I'm feeling good. I'm gonna go try to chase so and so down, and just knowing you have that teammate right there is really helpful too.
Yeah. How do you prepare? For a state meet? It's just like another meet. You know what I mean? Or how do you for the week? How does everything go?
We got changed our thoughts that they have goals that they really want at state also, and I'm always superstitious. I say, okay, we planning for it, but we just knock on wood. We just have to. So many things can go wrong, and they always tease me about that. But they wanted to train through sections, so we didn't let up in our training at all. And so this week will be lighter. It'll be quality, not quantity so much, and we'll just have fresh legs. That's the goal, and just that you've tapered correctly when you're just like full of energy and just you want to race so much, and so that's where we hope to have them on Saturday.
But what a great experience for Cassie and the boys too, and any special events connected with it as you guys go down there?
Yeah, there's going to be a send off at the school on Friday morning, and we're going to leave after that. It's 9 or 9:30. I haven't heard the official yet. Okay. And then, then we, head out, and that'll be the deal. But it's fun when the whole school comes out and gets ready for.
I tell you what, when we have our big meet out at the golf course, and I'm driving to town, and I'm going like, this is crazy. Yeah. There's cars parked on 59.
I know.
And I know we've had the pep band out there too.
Yes.
But isn't it great to have the school, the community,
Yeah.
really supporting cross country like
Yeah,
other sports?
they really have. And we did a police escort on the way into town when we came back from DL, and that was so much fun. And just in the cars that were waiting, when we knew where they were going to be to meet us, and just the people waiting, and people who just don't know what's going on. You see a fire truck, you wonder what's going on, and just stopping and waving, and the community, they come out like crazy for us, and they support our kids in so many different ways.
Yeah, super exciting. Well, awesome, Nikki. And I know for a lot of these student athletes, they're finishing one season, and they get a little break. And most of them, like the couple of the gals playing tennis as well. Yeah, they're on to the next sport.
Yes, oh, absolutely. I mean, we've got a lot of skiers, cross country skiers, basketball, hockey. These kids are just moving on right to the next. They don't get a huge break. It's
awesome. It's an awesome thing. Well, thanks a lot, Nikki, and a great season for your gals. And we'll keep cheering Cassie on and the boys down the stretch.
Right. Thank you.
All right, Nikki Weldy, cross-country coach. We'll come back after this break. Talk with Otter football coach Chris Grabowski. You're listening to the Coaches Show on KBRF, and also streamed on our Fox or our Fergus Now app and on KBRSports.com.
Sheridan House in Fergus Falls, Minnesota. If you're 55 or older and looking for a quiet and comfortable apartment with underground parking, meals available for purchase, a flexible month-to-month lease, plus $500 off your first month's rent, give me a call at 218-998-7404 or go to lbhomes.org/Sheridan. I'd love to show you around and see if Sheridan House is right for you.
Here's to a great season for all our favorite high school athletes. American Legion is a favorite too and serves up everyone's favorite barbecued ribs. American Legion of Fergus Falls, open each Wednesday through Saturday on Pebble Lake Road in Fergus Falls.
Quality Toyota is proud to salute the achievements of each quality player. It takes teamwork to compete, and the Quality Player Award recognizes the extra effort by an individual in each athletic contest. Quality Toyota commends the hard work, dedication, and quality efforts of these outstanding youth. That attitude will help each quality player as they go forward. Congratulations to each of the quality players from Quality Toyota on West Lincoln Avenue in Fergus Falls. QualityToyota.net. Let's go places.
Student athletes have their eyes on the ball, making game plans, scoring points, breaking records. At American Federal in Fergus Falls, we know you have goals too. Whether it's buying farmland, business expansion, home ownership, or planning for retirement. Our trusted advisor, Dustin Morris, will help you find the best solutions and make the right calls. Make a winning appointment with an American Federal banker in Fergus Falls today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We all inherit things from our parents. Maybe it's your mom's smile or your dad's eyes. But what if you could inherit something more serious, even deadly?
Our mom was diagnosed with lung cancer over 20 years ago. Thankfully, she's doing well, but she wasn't the only one in our family to be diagnosed with lung cancer.
Our great aunt and uncle, our grandmother, and our great-grandfather were all diagnosed with lung cancer too. Unlike breast or colon cancer, the inherited risk for lung cancer hasn't been well researched. The Inherit study aims to change that.
This landmark study seeks to better understand the genetic risk of lung cancer. We joined Inherit to help uncover its origins and families and to improve screening and treatment.
Participation is easy. It can be done from home and takes very little time. For more information, please go to goto.org/inherit today.
It always bugs me when I hear Christmas shopping commercials before Thanksgiving. It's just too early. That said, it's not too early for me to talk to you about Thanksgiving now. Hi, this is Zola from PlanZDiet.com. Can you imagine what it would be like to show up for your family Thanksgiving dinner about 31 pounds lighter? Heads would turn and jaws would drop. Well, the average Plan Z dieter loses 31 pounds in just 50 days. If you get started soon, you have time to drop that weight and waltz into that holiday dinner looking and feeling great. Plan Z is a real food diet. Nothing from a box, no magic shakes, real food. There are hundreds of tasty recipes, too. My ZR50 Crave Control Spray puts you in control of your diet. It's designed to keep your cravings down, along with all the rest of the nasty stuff that happens when you try to diet. Sanity at last is how one dieter put it. If you've been thinking about a diet, now's the time to act. Instead of waiting till January to start another diet, you can get this one done before the holidays even start. Celebrate thinner this year. Check us out at PlanZDiet.com.
Mark Johnson back with you, filling in for Craig Olson. Craig is down in the Twin Cities with his wife, Sue, and he is being inducted into the Minnesota Basketball Coaches Association Hall of Fame. What a great honor for Craig. There will be more to follow, and at the top of the hour, 9 o'clock or so, we'll hear the interview that Dave Bishop had with Craig earlier and catch up on that. But pretty great honor for Craig. And do you know that he's broadcast over 6,000 basketball games? Just start thinking about that. And we'll talk about some of those things in just a bit. But he started working in 1973 in radio, and here we are in 2025, and we're really glad to have him. I want to remind you, coming up in the rest of our show here, Chris Grabowski will join us, Corey Fry, head coach of the Hillcrest Comets, Sabrina Noon, volleyball coach for the Otters, and activities director Derek Abrams, and then Jamie Lill to close out our show. But there was some volleyball played last night, and you heard Jason Retzlaff with the call of the Underwood-Hillcrest game, and it was the number 2 seeded Hillcrest Lutheran Academy Comets beating Underwood, a very good Underwood team, the 3 seed, 3 games to none. On the other side of that bracket, too, Breckenridge beat New York Mills 3-0. So it's Breckenridge and Hillcrest for the section finals in the south half of Section 6A. So exciting times for these student athletes as they're getting closer to playoff time. On the other side of the bracket in Section 6A, it is Belgrade Gruton El Rosa, the number 1 seed. They defeated Clinton Graceville Beardsley, and they'll take on West Central, as West Central beat Parker's Prairie 3-0 in that one. So we have a lot of football on the air later on this afternoon, and we'll update you on those games. But we're going to have the Hillcrest Lutheran Academy Comets taking on a very good Hancock team, and that will be on Channel 977 with Jason Retzlaff, and we'll talk to Corey Fry here in just a minute. Those two teams played earlier in the year, and Hillcrest lost by 4 points. It was a couple 2-point conversions. And also, Otter Tail Central, the Bulldogs, they advanced. They're the number 3 seed. They had beat Rosse back on the 22nd, and they will take on Border West. And that game will be on Z103 with Bob Roars. And then New York Mills is at West Central area. Charlie Newland, one of our great sports directors from KDLM in Detroit Lakes, joining us in our Leighton Media team to bring that game. That's a 2 o'clock game on KJ Country. And then East Grand Forks will take on Fergus Falls, the Otters, in what should be a great game. Those two teams met on homecoming. The Otters won 21-14 in that one, but we'll have the pregame at 5:45 and a 6 o'clock kickoff. So there's a lot going on today on the radio here on our Leighton media stations, but looking forward to this time of the year. And in our broadcast, too, we'll have a good conversation with Derek Abrams just to catch up on all the things going, and we'll set the table for the winter sports season. And again, I mentioned that interview that Dave Bishop had with Craig Olson, and I just want to set that up just a little bit here and just give you some statistics, and they probably covered these things, but Craig started up in Detroit Lakes at KDLM in 1973, and then he was also in Missouri, in Utah, covering AAA baseball and the likes. Came to Fergus Falls, KBRF in 1981. Of course, he is the nephew of Olds LeGrand, Rural Broadcaster of the Year, Sports Illustrated a long time ago, but Craig took over and has called over 6,000 college and amateur sporting events, which is just crazy. And then Craig was awarded the Minnesota State High School Eagle Standing Media Service Award in 2017. So, Craig, if you're listening, great job with that. We'll take a time out and continue with our Coaches Show. And you're listening to the Coaches Show on AM 1250 KBRF, also streaming on the Fergus Now app on KBFSports.com.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls has a fantastic starting lineup with America's 3 favorite truck brands, Ford, Ram, and GMC. Nelson Auto can help you enjoy your time out on the road. Check out our starting lineup at Nelson Auto Center, Fergus Falls.
Finding that missing shin guard, remembering whether it's a home or away game, getting the right kid to the right playing field on the right day. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. We work with independent agents who keep insurance simple so you can worry about more important things, like not being that fan. Oh, come on, Ref! That's simple human sense.
Visit the Arneson Agency at their new location, 120 East Lincoln, Fergus Falls.
I'm Derek Sidian with KBRFradio.com News. Join me live every Friday on the KBRF Radio YouTube channel for the weekly news recap, where I recap the week's hottest local news and you catch up on what you might have missed. The live stream starts at 12:30 and will be available to watch on YouTube after the stream ends. The KBRFradio.com weekly news recap is brought to you by Fergus Falls Monument. Online at foreverstonememorial.com, memorials that matter, and Lilligards, your local Mahindra dealer on Highway 13 West, Wapaton.
High-quality local embroidery for your community. Running Stitches is the choice for everything, from business logos to team apparel and personal projects. They bring your designs to life. Andrew and Allison Olson from Running Stitches Embroidery are proud supporters of local sports.
Quality Toyota is proud to salute the achievements of each quality player. It takes teamwork to compete, and the Quality Player Award recognizes the extra effort by an individual in each athletic contest. Quality Toyota commends the hard work, dedication, dedication, and quality efforts of these outstanding youth. That attitude will help each quality player as they go forward. Congratulations to each of the quality players from Quality Toyota on West Lincoln Avenue in Fergus Falls. QualityToyota.net. Let's go places.
A big congratulations to Layton Media Sports Director Craig Olson on his induction into the Minnesota Basketball Coaches Hall of Honor.
Very humbling and very satisfying. I never expected it. When you get into your profession, I don't think you get into it thinking someday I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Craig started his broadcast career shortly after graduating high school in 1973 and has broadcast over 6,000 games, starting his broadcast career in Fergus Falls in 1981. Congratulations from all of us at Layton Media, Craig. You deserve it.
In Minnesota, we understand the value of hard work. That's what makes Amy Klobuchar our kind of senator. She works with Republicans and Democrats to get results. Amy Klobuchar worked hard to make sure veterans exposed to toxic burn pits can finally get the benefits they've earned. That's why the American Legion honored Senator Klobuchar with their Distinguished Public Service Award. As a former prosecutor, Amy Klobuchar has worked to keep Minnesotans safe, getting law enforcement the tools and equipment they need, and taking on the deadly flow of fentanyl. That's why the Minnesota Police and Peace Officers Association and the Minnesota Professional Firefighters have also endorsed Amy Klobuchar. And Senator Klobuchar is a leader on the Agriculture Committee, fighting to pass a strong farm bill. Both the Minnesota Farm Bureau and the Farmers Union have endorsed Amy Klobuchar, too. They know she's working hard for us.
I'm Amy Klobuchar, running for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Klobuchar from Minnesota.
Mark Johnson back with you. Thanks for joining me on the Coaches Show. Again, filling in for Craig Olson this morning. He and his wife Sue are down in the Twin Cities for the Minnesota Basketball Coaches Association Hall of Fame induction for Craig. What a great honor. And at the top of the hour, we will hear from Dave Bishop in his interview with Craig. So looking forward to that. I'm joined on the phone now by Chris Grabowski, head coach of the Fergus Falls Otters. Good morning, Chris.
Hey, good morning, Mark. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Great to talk to you. And, hey, a big day for the Otters. And, I was talking to my oldest son, Peter. They were the last undefeated Otter team regular season. That was the fall of 2016. And this team is a lot like that. Great line on both sides of the football. A lot of guys that can run the football, catch it, throw it, and whatnot. But I know last week you talked about that win against Morris, but let's talk about that one a little bit, where you really found some separation against a very good Morris team.
Yeah, I thought you kind of had to weather the storm a little bit early in the game, and, we kind of traded punches early back and forth, and we came out the second half and just kind of stuck with our game plan and came out and just kind of grinded out the win and got some separation in that game for sure.
Yeah, that is for sure. And in that game, there was a couple of turnovers early in that game, but that's been a key for us down the stretches, and it's going to be key tonight, but not turning the ball over. But let's talk about just the explosiveness of this offensive team. And it does start at the line of scrimmage. And, man, I just want to give a shout-out to some of these guys, Dane Hastings and Kristen Franz and Jack Anderson, Robert Eilert, Colton Drulier, Jack Ratz. You go down the line, but what are these guys on the offensive side of football meant to his team?
Yeah, the linemen has always started with them, and like I said many times, they put in the time in the off season and really learned the X's and O's in their assignments, and got the job done in the weight room all throughout, and they've really set the tone for our team and been able to open up some holes, and it's really allowed our playmakers to be explosive. I just can't say enough about them. They've done a great job, and just when you can kind of marry together your skills and have a good O-line to go with it, it makes it fun on the offensive side of the ball.
I know last week Craig interviewed Shane Tilke, the defensive coordinator, but the same thing on that side of the football. And I know one thing we haven't talked a lot about is our linebackers and our D-backs, the guys out on the edge. Talk about some of those guys and what they bring.
Yeah, I'll start with the defensive backs and work our way forward here. But, yeah, defensive backs, they've stepped up all year long, and I just feel like, our section is kind of a run-heavy team, but I feel like they've done a good job with their assignments in the run game, and we've focused really on stopping teams ability to run the ball. And then, you know, when you get up in a game, the teams have to start passing. So I just think that our D-backs have done a great job all year, you know, just shutting down the pass game and filling in, you know, their assignments really good in the run game. Linebackers, great. You know, we got Jack Ratz and Mason Nolan in the middle. They've done a great job plugging the middle all year. They're both dynamic players for our defense, kind of, you know, the captains of our defense. And then our outside linebackers, you know, they're just some athletes out there with the Fronting boys and Levi King. They just, you know, it's just really fun to watch them fly around and make plays.
You know, it's exciting to think about tonight's game and the weapons we have on both sides of the football. And, you know, as a broadcaster, I got a good vantage point, and I got Steve Olson to my left, you know, the lineman coach. I got Ike Carlson over there. It's fun to watch those guys during the game as they communicate with you. But all of a sudden you go, we got Levi King split out to the far side, Jack Ratz inside of him. We got Alex Ellison. We have Caleb, Carson Fronting, Henry Bethel. You just go right down the line. And if you're an opposing team, you know, Isaiah Holmes, who do you stop?
Well, that's just it. You know, I mean, you can't really focus. If you really key in on one guy, then we can go to the next guy. That's kind of been our approach on offense all season. I would say, you know, they try to take away one part of our offense, we'll just go to the next part of it. You know, if they want to really focus in on shutting down the screen, well, then we can run the ball or take some shots. If they want to be backed off, then we'll, you know, start with the screen game and kind of see where it goes from there. So, yeah, it's just really nice to have all those options, and it makes your job to call plays a lot easier for sure.
Yeah, it sure does. In that game against Morris, too, fun to watch number 11 back there, too, Henry Bethel. And it was one play. We were down. We were headed toward the east end zone. I'm trying to remember here. We're down close, and Henry got the ball. There was nothing doing. He ran probably about 40 yards to get back to the line of scrimmage. You know, a lot of coaches would say, hey, just down it. But he can do things that many kids can't do. And then he had that big run to set up the touchdown, too.
Yeah, you know, Henry, he's just a playmaker, and he's just got the mentality that he's going to try to make something happen on every play, and that's just the kind of competitor he is. You know, and as a coach, that's really fun to watch, and you just kind of let him do his thing, you know, and just kind of try to do your best to put him in situations to be successful. And sometimes, like you said, you know, he can make something out of nothing, and that's just the kind of player Henry is.
All right, just a quick preview about East Grand Forks tonight, too. Run-heavy team. They'll throw it some, but they really line up and come after you, don't they?
Yep. Yeah, you got to be able to stop the run tonight. And over the past few weeks, they've kind of been searching for an identity on offense, and they've been wishbone, they've been pro, and then this last couple of weeks they've been they spread you out and try to run the ball that way. So we have to be ready for whatever they want to throw at us and be ready to stop us. Just get lined up and execute assignments today.
Yeah, and then I just want to give a little shout out to Jaden Heikes, too, playing both soccer and football. He is an all-state soccer player, and the kicking game has really come along, too, hasn't it? And also Levi King doing punting. And I was thinking about that. We haven't punted that much this year.
No, we really haven't. Yeah, Jaden, he's doing a great job. It's so nice to have that option. Extra points, you know, they matter in games like, you know, going into playoffs. It's going to be crucial to have those points and have all the trust in the world in him getting those extra points through. Even if we had to try a field goal, wouldn't be afraid to send him out there. And then, yeah, Levi, I can think of the Morris game. I think we punted a couple times, and he was able to flip the field for us, you know, so he's doing a great job when he has to punt as well.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to it tonight. We'll have the game on the air on Channel 977 at 6 o'clock kickoff, 5:45 pregame. Looking forward to the interview tonight, Chris, and let's get a victory tonight.
Sounds great. Thanks a lot.
All right. Have a great day, Chris. Chris Grabowska, head coach of the Otters, Otter football team, as they'll take on East Grand Forks in the section semifinals tonight. We'll take a short break. Come back with Corey Fry, the head coach of the Hillcrest Lutheran Academy Comets. We'll talk about their victory here the other night. We'll have that for you after this break.
Here's to a great season for all our favorite high school athletes. American Legion is a favorite too and serves up everyone's favorite barbecued ribs. American Legion of Fergus Falls, open each Wednesday through Saturday on Pebble Lake Road in Fergus Falls.
The all-new redesigned Chevy Equinox has arrived at Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls. Its spacious and versatile interior provides comfort and convenient driver technologies. Add a dynamic, eye-catching exterior, and you've got a crossover SUV loaded with smart style and practical dependability. It's Equinox taken to a whole new level. Contact the sales team at Minnesota Motor Company for a test drive today. South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
A big congratulations to Layton Media Sports Director Craig Olson on his induction into the Minnesota Basketball Coaches Hall of Honor.
Very humbling and very satisfying. I never expected it. When you get into your profession, I don't think you get into it thinking someday I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Craig started his broadcast career shortly after graduating high school in 1973 and has broadcast over 6,000 games, starting his broadcast career in Fergus Falls in 1981. Congratulations from all of us at Layton Media, Craig. You deserve it.
It always bugs me when I hear Christmas shopping commercials before Thanksgiving. It's just too early. That said, it's not too early for me to talk to you about Thanksgiving now. Hi, this is Zola from PlanZDiet.com. Can you imagine what it would be like to show up for your family Thanksgiving dinner about 31 pounds lighter? Heads would turn and jaws would drop. Well, the average Plan Z dieter loses 31 pounds in just 50 days. If you get started soon, you have time to drop that weight and waltz into that holiday dinner looking and feeling great. Plan Z is a real food diet. Nothing from a box, no magic shakes, real food. There are hundreds of tasty recipes, too. My ZR50 Crave Control Spray puts you in control of your diet. It's designed to keep your cravings down, along with all the rest of the nasty stuff that happens when you try to diet. Sanity at last is how one dieter put it. If you've been thinking about a diet, now's the time to act. Instead of waiting till January to start another diet, you can get this one done before the holidays even start. Celebrate thinner this year. Check us out at PlanZDiet.com.
Mark Johnson back with you. I'm joined by Hillcrest Lutheran Academy head coach Corey Fry. Corey, great to have you in here. You got your Comet jersey on. You're ready to play some football, coach some football.
This is the best time of year, playoff football.
Yeah, it sure is. Hey, and you guys opened up with a win, a nice one over Underwood, 28-14 in the playoffs. And a 4-5 seed game, they're always tough, aren't they? Because you know your opponent who you've played them, but that 4-5 game is always a tough one.
Yeah, that 4-5 matchup, like you said, is very tough for it to be kind of a rival team too. It brings a lot to the game. A lot of our guys were ready for it. I know Underwood was ready for it, and it was just one of those grinded out football games. To be able to play on your home field too, you're right there, your regular routine, that's helpful too, isn't it? Yeah. And I think that's almost every team in our section's goal, to host that first round home playoff game on that Tuesday night. It's just tough to turn around from school on a Tuesday night and then go on the road somewhere. So we always preach that kind of as we hit that middle season point. We want to be at home for that first playoff game, so that way we can kind of relax and be able to come out ready to play. So in that game, Underwood scores first, and you kind of settled in then after that, right? So they get a touchdown pass early, Drew Evervald to Caleb Hames, and then you guys come back and tie it up. Yeah. And in that game, like we just said, it was one of those grinded games. Underwood was able to put the ball in the end zone first. We came back and kind of tied it up from there, and then it just kept going the same way throughout the game until the fourth, where it was tied up, and then Nathan Brimmel, in my opinion, had the play of the game. Where is that a big sack? No, that was, so we were on our 40-yard line punting the ball, and he ended up punting the ball to the 1-yard line. It was one of the best punts I've seen in a while, where it literally hit the 1 and ricocheted and went straight out of bounds. And that was just huge for our defense to be able to settle in and kind of for us to take control of the game from there. So 6-6 was the score, and it went back and forth like that till the fourth quarter. But, man, to get up by 2 scores, though,
how big is that? And that was, it was Thor Ewan had a run, and before that, Swedberg had a 4-yard run too. But how huge is that to get a little separation as a coach and to breathe easy?
In a game like that, being that Underwood, like one of their main thing is they want to eat away at you in just small portions with their run game, and then try to hit a big play over the top. We just felt if we got them in a situation where they needed to pass the ball, we felt very confident in our defense. Our secondary has played lights out this whole year, so we really wanted to make sure we put them in situations where we had the advantage.
Yeah, and you do have some weapons in the backfield and both sides of the football. And we talked off the air at the volleyball game last Saturday, but you know, you go from coaching 11-man college game to 9-man.
Yep.
You know, you said a few times in practice you had a few too many guys out there. That's pretty good. But you got some weapons there in Swedberg and in Ewan and other guys too. Talk about some of those guys, some of your receivers too.
Yeah, so we've been very fortunate these last couple of years. This junior group that's come in, they have a lot of football games played right now, which is really nice. So Ethan Swedberg is kind of one of the leaders in that group, being the quarterback, but he's also a student of the game. He's learning and evolving every week. This year itself, he accounted for 31 touchdowns.
Wow.
So it just and it's a balanced way. It's not just passing; it's him running the ball. A guy that just doesn't get talked about enough is Trey Swedenberg. He's kind of our glue. He's one of those guys where he plays kind of on our offensive line. He'll play tight end. He came up very big for us in the first Underwood game where we were kind of trying to figure out what we needed to do running the ball. We stuck him back there at running back, and he went for like 130 yards. So just having guys like that, being willing to sacrifice themselves for the greater good of the team is great. But then also having Thor back running the ball is very, very good for us. You can definitely see that we took another turn once he was fully healthy, offensively and defensively. Isaac Blaskowski, really good up-and-coming receiver for us. He's one of those, and it's crazy that you say up-and-coming, but he's been in our program for 3 years, but you can just see the level of maturity each year, and his game is improving each week as well. So we have a lot of guys just to kind of throw at you. Griffin House is another one who just has come on big. He's a good sized tight end for us, but he also plays stout in the run. He'll be very key tonight for us. And then lastly, Xander Knutson, who's a sophomore for us, linebacker. He fills in on the line as well. But truthfully, when Griffin and Xander kind of solidified our linebacking core, our defense really took off this year. And so that was kind of game 4 when they were able to step in and just kind of take over there.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And having that balanced attack, you know, a lot of 9-man teams, 11-man teams, they don't have that. But having a guy like Ethan that can throw it, Thor that can run it, other guys that can catch it too, that's huge, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's one of the biggest things that we struggled with in past at Hillcrest. We just did not have the balance. We were always low in numbers. And this is our first year we've really felt comfortable having a solid group of numbers with guys that know football.
So Hancock today, you guys played them. It was a long time ago, 32-28. Talk about that game and what's changed with the Comets and how you've improved since that game. Because it was some 2-point conversions, right?
Yeah. We played Hancock even. And that's one of the weird things. Outside of our Border West game, all of our losses have come down to 2-point conversions, which is very weird. But in that game against Hancock, we went up very early, 12-0 in that game. And we had a lot of chances to kind of really put Hancock away, and we just couldn't, whether we threw an interception going into the end zone, or whether we fumbled kind of midfield that just kind of allowed them to stay in the game. The biggest things that we fix from that is kind of shoring up those little key mistakes. but also playing at a higher tempo, just being a little bit more disciplined with the football, being a little bit more diligent with what we're doing on the field. We felt pretty good with what we were doing. There are a few tweaks and a few things that we'll throw in there today to kind of try to catch them off guard. But I definitely believe it's going to be one of those games that's just fought in the trenches all day long.
All right, it'll be Hancock. That's a 2 o'clock start. And talk about the Owls a little bit. They have one really, really good stud.
Yep.
Good running back, right?
Yep.
You got to stop.
Yeah, Chase Evick is a really good back. He's 6'3", 6'4" kid. That's probably about 250 running the ball.
Wow.
You get a kid that size that has fairly decent speed at 9-man. A lot of young guys do not want to tackle that. And so that'll be the test today and coming up and making sure we can keep him in the box and keep him contained, try to stop his momentum before he gets started. And then limiting their big plays. They caught us napping in the last game where they kind of tossed the halfback pass in there. And that's just, the dynamic part of their offense. When they have a big running back like that, they can kind of sneak plays in there like that. But it's basically staying disciplined against them. And that to me will be the way we can win this game.
All right. Well, a lot of excitement around Hillcrest football. It's going to be a big day there. There'll be a lot of people heading down Highway 59.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Thanks a lot, Corey.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Corey Fry, head coach of the Comets. They take on Hancock. We'll have that game for you on the air this afternoon. And that'll be Jason Retzloff with the call, that one on Channel 977. We'll take another break, and we'll come back with more. We'll talk to Sabrina Noon, Otter girls volleyball coach.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls has a fantastic starting lineup with America's 3 favorite truck brands, Ford, Ram, and GMC. Nelson Auto can help you enjoy your time out on the road. Check out our starting lineup at Nelson Auto Center, Fergus Falls.
High-quality local embroidery for your community. Running Stitches is the choice for everything, from business logos to team apparel and personal projects. They bring your designs to life. Andrew and Allison Olson from Running Stitches Embroidery are proud supporters of local sports.
Quality Toyota is proud to salute the achievements of each quality player. It takes teamwork to compete, and the Quality Player Award recognizes the extra effort by an individual in each athletic contest. Quality Toyota commends the hard work, dedication, and quality efforts of these outstanding youth. That attitude will help each quality player as they go forward. Congratulations to each of the quality players from Quality Toyota on West Lincoln Avenue in Fergus Falls. QualityToyota.net. Let's go places.
What makes Fergus Falls unique? It's the obscure places, the hidden gems, the remarkable people.
UnveiledLocal.com.
We exist to unveil the best of the Fergus Falls community to you. We're Unveiled Local, a new website dedicated to revealing all the awesome in our community.
UnveiledLocal.com.
Dive into the narratives that make Fergus Falls incredible.
UnveiledLocal.com.
Discover the threads that connect our community together.
UnveiledLocal.com.
Mark Johnson back with you. Craig Olson again down at the Hall of Fame induction, Minnesota Basketball Coaches Association. And we'll have that interview with Dave Bishop at the top of the hour. I'm joined by Sabrina Noon, head coach of the Lady Otters. And Sabrina, before going on the air, the 3-0 loss to a very good Detroit Lakes team. It's tough, isn't it? It is. Because you want it so much for the girls and everybody too.
Yeah, it was really tough. You can watch as much film as you want on them, but, once you get there, you just got to play the game, and we just fell short.
Yeah, and I know you guys had great practices. We talked in the pregame show, and the energy level is up. But we got to tip our hats to Detroit Lakes. They played well, didn't they?
They played very well. And you can't take away some of the abilities they have that, unfortunately, like their height, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's hard to block. They had 2 middles that were extremely tall. And
Was this the tallest team we've played all year? By far.
Yes, by far. Their setter had some good height to her. One of their outsides was just as tall as their middles. And, as a block, you can time it right and they can still hit right over you. And unfortunately, I think that was what was happening in a lot of our sets, and our defense, was just scrambling, trying to figure out where to go for defense. And so, that was just really hard. But DL, they played a very controlled, and they were very scrappy. Even the spots that we were aiming for that were very hard balls to get, they were able to dig up, and you got to give it to them. But it was just it was hard on our end because I also know we didn't have our best game that night, unfortunately, and that's going to happen. We had moments in both areas, when our setters, when our passes were on, our hitters were a little off. When our passes were on, our hitters were a little off. I just felt we could never fully meld it together that night. So it was just.
Yeah, it's just a tough night in that way, but your gals played hard. They didn't give up. And I was thinking that first game, too, the way things started, too, it seemed like they just happened to have these little tips and found spots, you know what I mean, that were just tough to cover. And the other thing, too, what I see, I call them change-ups in volleyball. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, it looks like it's going to be a great set. The timing's off, and the blockers are ready. And that first game was kind of like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. We actually use that term a lot. In what I call my little old lady league. But I have a lot of change-ups when I hit, and they just had some balls where, they go up swinging, and sometimes it's a miss hit, and it would just, find a way on our court. And those are extremely hard to defend. They are the most hidden attack that you can have.
Yeah, for sure. Prior to that, we had won, boy, I was looking at here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over the last 6. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the anticipation was high, but overall, talk about this year's team and some of your seniors too, and just the effort they gave. And you'll miss those seniors too. That's the part about it, and I'm a parent of one of the juniors, but I watch the senior players and the juniors, and we're emotional people. It's a hard thing to end a year.
It still just weighs heavy on my heart. My senior class, we had 9 plus a senior manager.
That's a great number.
And they all are such amazing kids, and they've all given so much to the program, and my heart was just heavy seeing it end the way it did. And they're just really special girls, and that's probably the part that's still the hardest is wishing that they could have just experienced a little bit more. So
yeah, that's for sure. And Bella had a good night hitting. We I'm thinking of just different ones on the team. When Ella Roberts came in and served 3 in a row and had a really nice dig.
Yeah, she had a couple nice digs. She was our little firecracker back there. And so that was exciting to see. And, Kendall Hansen got in, and she had some really nice sets to get us a kill. So, Bryn Sternberg, you could just see the effort on her face and the pain in her eyes when it was ending, and all our girls. You could just see the want was there so bad, and it was not without lack of effort, because they did put their all into it that night. And there's nights where you can put your all into it, and it just does not work out in your favor. So that was a night for us. It was. I'm still processing all of it. Even after the game, I'm talking, but I feel like I felt like I was stunned. DL came out a lot stronger than I expected him to. They were a really strong number 4 seed. So they definitely, gave us a good fight. And
yeah, that is for sure.
Yeah.
So you, I talked with Chris Grabowski on the air. I talked with Nikki this morning. A lot of these kids will go on to other sports too, but it's hard to close a chapter. But I'm thinking of other, players on their team. Danny Funkels would come in, serve really well. You know what I mean? And different ones.
Yes. They all had such vital roles, and they all, did such a great job stepping into the points. Danny Funkhauser, her serve sometimes would just drop on you, and you're like, where did that come from? Elena Oman, she got in some of our back row, and some of the reads that she gets and some of the balls that she can pick up you just kind of drop your jaw, and they're like, what is going on? The other day in practice, I think Brooke Zierden hit a ball that, was a line shot, and it was straight down. And I mean, in those moments, you just are like, wow. I mean, you're speechless. And so, you know, my girls gave me a lot of speechless moments this year. And then, you know, some of the girls that have given their all in practice, our recruiter was always willing to play any position, and she always had such a positive attitude, and she was one of the most supportive teammates that a person could have on their team. So it was, you know, those girls hold such a huge part of my heart, and so that's probably going to be the most difficult part of saying goodbye to this season. So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Morgan Welly too, number 9. She, you know,
Yes,
just the way
Morgan.
she, her blocking ability, play at the net was really strong.
Morgan Welly, she's hilarious. She, you know, she's such a surprise sometimes because she can hit these spots and you're like, where did that come from? And she always did a good job. She did a really good job of lining up our block the other night. She had some good, like, contacts. I mean, you know, one of the things that doesn't always get in our stats is how many balls we do put back on their court that aren't a full ball down, and, you know, they can dig it back up. But they had a lot of those as well. So it's not like we weren't lining up on them. You know, they just would eventually find that right height of the set to kind of get it over them. But, you know, yeah, Morgan Welly did a great job at the net. She was a
fun to watch.
Mhm.
You know, I was earlier this year. I was hearing the numbers on some of the junior high and also elementary volleyball, and we have a good junior class coming back and sophomores too. But the future is bright though too, isn't it?
It is. We have a lot of strength coming in, and you know, the key to kind of, you know, that's going to be part of their success is they're driven, and these girls that are graduating, they were driven as well, and they were. I mean, this team was a very skilled and talented team, and unfortunately, I think that got missed a lot by our record, but. There was not a team that took us lightly in our season, and that's something that we always strive for. And you know, we're just the brink away of turning it one notch over, and we're going to get there.
Yeah, that is for sure. And we do talk about this, but it's a reality. We play in a very, very good conference, which helps us in the end. And we kind of bounce back and forth, 3A, 2A. You know what? It's a tough fit sometimes.
It is. And even 2A, I mean, even the top teams in the 2A are, I mean, for example, in our Blocktoberfest, I mean, we have 1A, we have 2A, and we have 3A teams in it. And it is such a competitive tournament. I mean, there's 1A schools that can take out top 3A schools, and there's 2A schools that can take out top 3A schools. So, I mean, you know, the competition is so great. And, you know, so I guess no matter what section we end up in, we're going to have it tough, but the CLC is brutal sometimes.
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
You know, with Ricori and Alexander, they're both top 10 teams, and hey, but let's play.
Yep. And you know, looking at at their programs and then looking at our programs, you know, we're there. I feel like you know, we're going to be we're just going to keep going up and up and up. So that's all we can ask for.
Yeah, building a base and keeping going. One last thing, a shout out to your coaches this year. You know, just
my coaches were so supportive this year, and you know, going through different. We went through a lot of different lineups and playing things around, and you know, we don't always see the same things, and that's what we want, and we always are looking at you know, different things to help find success. So they were very supportive, and you know, they take just as big of interest in these girls as I do. So that's always so nice. And, you know, we all have our little quirks of keeping things in line. And so it's like what one misses, the other one fills in. So that's awesome. One other shout out I do want to give is our freshman setter this year. She kind of,
Aubrey, for sure.
She kind of took on a big hat. And
that's a big job.
You know, sometimes we weren't always the easiest on her, and she just, you know, she strives for getting better, and she did a great job, and she's such a positive teammate to have on the court. And so she, she had a great learning year. And I'm excited for her in the future too as well. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, you did a great job, your whole staff too. And, at the end of the day, we're developing student athletes and great kids. That's like you say, that's the tough part about ending a season.
Yeah. And one other player that I need to mention is even Addie Curry. She's one of our seniors. Talk about the student life and stuff. She did such a great job of supporting her team and being there and being part of our program, and then also taking her studies and doing them just the way she needs to do, and holding that a priority as well. So she did a great job this season as well.
All right. Well, great job, Sabrina. Good to talk to you as always.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot. Sabrina Newen, head coach of the Otters girls volleyball team, will come back. And out of this break, we're going to be hearing the interview Dave Bishop had with Craig Olson on his Hall of Fame induction.
A big congratulations to Layton Media Sports Director Craig Olson on his induction into the Minnesota Basketball Coaches Hall of Honor.
Very humbling and very satisfying. I never expected it. When you get into your profession, I don't think you get into it thinking someday I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Craig started his broadcast career shortly after graduating high school in 1973 and has broadcast over 6,000 games, starting his broadcast career in Fergus Falls in 1981. Congratulations from all of us at Layton Media, Craig. You deserve it.
It's truck season at Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls. What does that mean? It means well-qualified buyers can finance most new Silverado trucks for 0% APR and no payments for 90 days when they finance with GM Financial. Or they can save up to $10,000 on select Silverado trucks. Contact the sales team at Minnesota Motor Company for details. Together, let's drive. Minnesota Motor. South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
Napa's fall filter sale is on now. Save up to 50% on the best filters in the industry. Shop Napa Auto Parts in Wapaton, Pelican Rapids, and Fergus Falls. Through October 20th, save $10 on a pair of night vision headlights. Claim a $50 Visa card with qualifying brake parts purchase. Save up to $15 on pairs of wiper blades. Don't forget you can shop online and pick up in the store in 30 minutes. Shop Napa in Pelican Rapids, Wapaton, and Fergus Falls.
Napa know-how. News, talk, sports, and ag information. News Talk 1250 AM KBRF, Fergus Falls. Depend on it.
Talk 1250 KBRF. Listen anytime, any place with the Fergus Now app on your phone. Joining me now, I've got Craig Olson. And Craig, we're here talking about you getting inducted into the Minnesota Basketball Coaches Association's Hall of Honor. And Craig, first off, a big congratulations. And second off, what did you think when you were told about this award?
Well, I would say two things right away. Very humbling and very satisfying. I mean, humbling in the sense that, you never feel like you belong in something like that. And I never expected it. When you get into your profession, I don't think you get into it thinking someday I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame or whatever. But when the satisfying part is when the people that you work with, your peers, and in this case, the coaches and people in the schools around the area that we have covered over the years, when they feel that you've done your job to a point where they want to give you special recognition, it's very satisfying to know that they feel you did your job at that level. But again, very humbling to be a part of the group of coaches and people that are in there. I mean, there are people in there, David, that I learned from, like Coach LeGrand and Ralph Anderson, the Detroit Lakes newspaper man, who I really learned a lot from when I was just starting in covering sports. And a lot of great coaches that I've followed through the years as well, and their teams. And, yeah, it's just surreal kind of to be a part of that group.
Craig, I'm going to put you on the spot. You've done over 6,000 games, so we're going to whittle it down to just basketball. If you were to look back at those games in your long career of calling basketball games, are there any ones that really stand out? I mean, obviously you've done a lot of them, but which ones are the ones that, really hit you and, really stand out in your mind?
Oh, wow. Yeah, the high school games, huh? It is so hard. There are so many that were great memories, just outstanding memories. I'd have to say, probably one of the most exciting ones, and as the high school ranks, would be when when Henning completed their perfect season, or their state championship season, and wound up winning. I've covered state tournaments for many years and covered state championship games, but was always a runner-up. You know, the Otter baseball team in 2009, the Otter boys basketball team in 2016, and the Otter girls basketball team just a few years ago. They're all runners-up. So when Henning won it, that was kind of cool to have that. But overall, David, I think it's hard to pick one game out, but there were two games at the community college level that stand out. One was the completion of the 29-0 championship season for the Spartans in 1998, when they came back from 15 points down, not once but twice, and won in overtime the championship game. And then in 2001, when the Lady Spartans went to the national tournament and beat a team from New York with just really 7.5 players, because they had one of their players injured and playing at half speed. And they went in and beat this New York team in the championship game that were much taller and had like 14 or 15 players on the bench. And those are the two games that I have covered probably that stand out the most of all those 6,000 plus games.
Well, thank you, Greg. Thank you, Craig. And again, congratulations on being inducted into the Minnesota Basketball Coaches Association Hall of Honor. For KBRFradio.com news, I'm Dave Bishop. Get more news at KBRFradio.com. Sign up for email news sent right to your inbox, delivered by Cooper's Office Supply.
What a great interview. Just appreciate Dave doing that. And I'm joined now by Derek Abrams, Activity Director for Fergus Falls. And, man, you've known Craig a long time. I have known him a long time. But what stands out to you, as far as Craig Olson and his work, and also as a person?
Just the pure dedication and love. I mean, you can't do it for as long as he has and as well as he has for everyone without absolutely loving it. But, I mean, the time commitment he had to put in, the late nights between, from doing broadcasts to the website to everything. And he covers everyone. I mean, it's everything is on there. It's not just, one or two sports or one or two towns or schools. And it's just unbelievable, the dedication. He's always there. And we're so lucky to have him here doing that all that, this show, everything. So he's definitely a treasure around here, and there's no question.
Yeah, that is for sure. It's a great honor. And you heard the interview as he received the Hall of Fame induction, Minnesota Basketball Coaches Association. And he said, yeah, Mark, I'm going in with Mike Max, WCCO and different guys too. But there'll be other things to follow. And I know, Craig, if you're listening, it's okay to get some accolades, Craig. I said, Craig, you got to send me the story, because without that, and then Dave did the story too. But it is awesome, and he really champions the coverage too. And it's all about the kids too.
Absolutely. And one thing stands out. Before I was AD, when I was a coach, just 2-second story here. We were down at Sauk Rapids, and he was covering all the away games too for boys basketballs and everything. And he went down there, and I don't say this often, but he looked awful. I mean, he looked awful. He was so sick, and he looked like he had about 102 fever and all that. And he's setting up, and I'm like, "Are you sure you're okay? Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna make it." And then right when the game got done, he came up and he goes, "I don't know. I don't feel so good." So that night, I actually drove him home.
Okay.
From Sauk Rapids. I remember driving, and he slept the whole way home. But just the fact that, he felt like that before he drove down there. But he still covered the game. He still did a great job on the radio for that game. And just complete dedication and love for all things, youth, sports and athletics.
That's for sure. And I wanted to mention to his wife, Sue, and his kids too. And I know that Craig and I were talking. He said we're going to have a couple days down in the Twin Cities. So, Craig, awesome job. And, one of the things, too, is I don't know if our listeners or the families realize how good they have it.
Absolutely.
As far as media coverage here with the radio, the website, the video, and all those things.
Absolutely. It's always easy to find out what's going on in area sports around here. You can't find that everywhere else, and even the St. Cloud area or whatever, when you're looking up teams, it's not there. Yeah. And we are very much spoiled here.
All right. Hey, let's talk about this fall season. Just recap some of the highlights. We had great success in a lot of different sports. Why don't you run through some of the teams and some of the individuals? I know swimming and diving is yet to come.
Yeah, we'll just start off with kind of in order that they finished. Our girls tennis team had a great season this year, conference championship, and they had their section tournaments a couple weeks ago. We had a doubles team get all the way through to state, so went down there and was able to catch them in their first match on Thursday. Real tough opponent. I mean, you get down there and they definitely belonged. They were right there with other teams that were there, but you also run into some, especially individuals, that are just on a different level as far as playing all year and things like that. And they ran into one of those, but did a great job down there and really all year. Hattie and Ashton had a phenomenal undefeated season at first doubles, which first singles often gets a lot of the accolades, and Ruby Ellison did a fantastic job holding down that spot this year, because you're always going to get your best either at first doubles or first singles. It doesn't matter how good another team is. They could be 0 something, but they could have one of the best players on the state on their team. So you're always doing that. So they did a great job, and the team, excuse me, and the team as a whole. They were consistent all year, and to win the conference was a great accomplishment for them. So they just wrapped up their season on Thursday, and like I said, I was able to get down there and watch them, and just the phenomenal job all year. Our boys soccer team also made it to a section final. Had a nice run after getting the 4 seed. It was, it was a real tight race for that north subsection, and end up with a 4 seed and knocked off number 5, number 1, and number 2 in 5 days.
Yeah.
And so then they got to take on, their reward for that was take on the top team in the state for a section final with Cathedral, and played well. We were a little shorthanded that night. We had some guys out or got injured even during the game, and it was 1-0 at halftime. Played a great game, a smart game, but just eventually fell to Cathedral.
And Jaden Hikus too, all state.
And Jaden Hikus was all state, so that was great. We found that out right after the season, so he did a great job, and we'll just use Jaden to segue over into football.
Yeah,
since he's also our football kicker and doing a great job with that. Our football team, again, going 8-0. I think it's about the 3rd or 4th time we were looking at the history of it that we've been undefeated. Again, winning the district, which isn't easy to do. We have a tough district. When you have Detroit Lakes in there, you got DGF in there. Perham traditionally has been a real good team. So to come off a 2-win season to go to this was really phenomenal. They did a great job, and we're hoping it continues. Tonight, 6 o'clock, we have the semifinals against East Grand Forks, and East Grand gave us everything we could handle on that homecoming game. Yeah, exactly. So there's no way I know they're not looking past this game at all. But 6 o'clock tonight. Just a reminder that get your tickets ahead of time, or you can use a credit card at the door. There are no passes or anything since it's a section game, but 6 o'clock kickoff tonight for that semifinal.
Yeah. Cross country too. Wow.
Cross country was also on Thursday. So I got to put about 451 miles on my truck on Thursday, driving down to the cities for tennis, then coming back up to Detroit Lakes for cross country. And yeah, it was fun. Both the boys and the girls raced. The girls did a real nice job. And of course, can't talk about the girls without talking about Cassie Wellman, who photo finish at the end.
Nikki was talking about that. Unbelievable.
When you go on the page for Heroes Timing, they have pictures of all the finishes, and the camera was at an angle. It wasn't right across the finish line, so you still couldn't tell. You looked at it, and it was a photo finish. Cassie ended up second by 0.05 of a second. That's how close it was. After you run that distance, and you're running for 15 minutes, and it comes down to 0.05 of a second, but obviously she helped qualify her for state, and we're looking forward to seeing what she can do down there. And then the boys, the three-peat, both as conference champions as well as not section champions, but as a state qualifier. They did finish second to Perham, and but just a great race. You watch a few of the guys come in, and you're wondering, okay, I know these Fergus guys got to start coming. But then it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, within about 8 spots, we got 4 or 5 guys that come across, and so that's a great team effort to show in it. And as opposed to last year where there was almost kind of a little wrestling match at the end with a Wilmer guy and not quite wrestling, but pretty close. But that was a photo finish. And the winner of that one, actually, since we only beat Wilmer by 1 point, that determined who went to state for that second spot. This year, it wasn't even close. We knew right away. So congratulations again to the boys cross country team. And we're looking forward to heading down there and watching them along with Cassie run next Saturday down at the U.
Yeah. And swimming and diving is still yet to come.
Swimming, diving is yet to come. They have their CLC here right now, and then in today, and then in 2 weeks they'll have their section meet, and then a week after that state. So they go quite a bit longer. We have girls hockey starting on Monday. I know, and other winter sports starting up in a couple weeks, but swimming's the one that always goes a little bit longer, and we're really hoping for great things there. The section tournament doesn't have a team portion. You can't qualify as a team, so they do have True Team, which they had a couple weeks ago, that meet, and we won the True Team, which was, again, a great feat. That just shows you how deep and how good they are. And they got to compete down at the U a couple weeks ago for the True Team state tournament. So our swim teams had an excellent season. Their record against the CLC throughout this year has been, they've been very successful. So we're looking forward to seeing what happens there with some individuals. I know they're still thinking about last year where they were literally just tenths of a second away from state tournament placements and just got out-touched at the end. And so I know they're ready to go this year.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting and it's a great time of the year. And man, I can't believe it. Girls hockey starting on Monday. Derek's talking, I'm going, wow.
Yeah.
And then these kids play multiple sports, many of them too.
They do.
And hats off to them and their families too.
Yep.
And to be able to compete at that level too.
Absolutely. I mean, we have great success, and we don't have a lot of one sport athletes. I don't know that we have as many 3-sport athletes as we used to. The demands are just get to be a lot between school and everything else. But we definitely have a lot of 2-sport and 3-sport athletes. And that's great to see. So they go from one to the next, and they're ready to go. And we're definitely looking forward to what we think is going to be also a very successful winter season.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks a lot, Derek. I know you got a big day ahead of you. Otter football will have the game on Channel 977. 6 o'clock kickoff, 5:45 pregame. Thanks.
6 o'clock. Yep.
Yeah, 6 o'clock. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Thanks a lot, Derek.
Yep.
All right, Derek Abrams, activities director at Fergus Falls. We'll come back with Jamie Lill, tennis coach, listening to the Coaches Show. We'll be right back.
You probably know Leighton Media as the company that's rocked the radio waves for over 60 years. But did you know that we put the same passion and energy into helping businesses with digital marketing? Leighton Engage works with you to implement strategic, targeted digital marketing campaigns with regular check-ins, clear expectations, and results that make sense.
Leighton Engage. Find your focus.
Get in touch today and make sense of digital marketing.
Here in Minnesota, we vote. We regularly lead the nation in voter turnout. And in 2024, we're going to do it again. Because here, you can vote by mail, early in person, or in person on Election Day. Just make sure your voice is heard. Go to mnvotes.gov to find everything you need to know about voting here in Minnesota. Sponsored by the Minnesota Secretary of State and aired by this station.
Aging well means staying healthy, active, and independent. To age well, we need to take care of our bones. 10 million Americans have osteoporosis, a hereditary disease that makes bones weak and more likely to break. Thankfully, we can all take simple steps to improve our bone health at any age. Eat a healthy diet that is rich in calcium and vitamin D. Get regular weight-bearing exercise, which means on our feet. Get bone health tips at pathtogoodbonehealth.org.
Remember that amazing video you shot for your business last year? What are you using it for now? At Leighton Engage, we can help you reach your potential customers through streaming TV, utilizing your video. We can help you create content or maximize your investment you already made and help drive real results. No wasted effort, just effective marketing.
Leighton Engage. Find your focus.
Get in touch today and make sense of digital marketing.
Are you looking for a small SUV that drives like a car? Look no further than the Chevy Trax at Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls. The Trax has an impressive amount of safety features and is designed to keep your cargo secure and passengers comfortable. With an MSRP starting around $23,000, it's a great buy. Contact the sales team to schedule a test drive today. Together, let's drive.
Minnesota Motor.
South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
Hey, we're back on the Coaches Show. Thanks for joining us. Mark Johnson here today, filling in for Craig Olson, and I'm joined by Jamie Lill, head coach of the Otter girls tennis team. So it's just me here, Jamie. So
That's
I'll
right.
do the best I can.
I think we can do it.
Okay. No, it's awesome year for your tennis team, and let's talk about that before we talk about the state tournament. But boy, to win a conference title, what an awesome feat for your team.
It was. It's I think Derek was just talking about it. It was the first time either of our tennis teams have done that, because the CLC is so tough for us tennis-wise because of the size of some of those schools. They've got indoor facilities and things that we don't access around Fergus. So that was really, really awesome for the girls. A good highlight for us this season for sure.
Yeah. Talk about off season, what goes into it for a tennis player, too. And I saw some of your comments, in the state tournament with some of these kids. That's all they do.
Yes.
That's all they do. But talk about our multi-sport, but what goes into it for these girls?
So I actually prefer the way we go about things a little bit, because we've got girls who play a lot of sports and do a lot of things. And I think that's just great for well-rounded kids. But our girls, they do put in as much work as they can. And honestly, in Minnesota, I mean, the courts are open. The boys season starts in March. And then as soon as summer hits, we hit the courts. And our girls, the bulk of our team puts in a lot of work in the summer. We do Monday nights with me. There's a park and rec program. There's also Norm Newell does some summer camps, which is like 3 mornings a week. And we get a lot of the girls to show up and buy in and do these things. And that is really what made the difference with this team, is that these girls have kind of grown up doing a little bit more in the off season, because sometimes our season is 7 weeks long.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get a lot better in 7 weeks. So they put in the time leading up to the season starting, just getting on the court. And you can go hit against a wall, and you can, you can hit with one friend. It doesn't take a lot. We just need the weather to cooperate and let us get out there and do it.
Yeah. Great season for your team. And let's talk about the state tournament, because when's can you remember last time we had any state participants?
Well, so I started coaching in 2012, and we haven't had anything like that since. The year before, we did send an individual singles player, Lindsay Kimball, back that year.
Yeah.
And then after she went to state, it's been a drought for us.
Yeah.
And honestly, we've had, we play St. Cloud Tech that has some phenomenal. It's a family with 4 girls, and they've just been dominating the section ever since. So we've faced them. Ashton has faced a Torali girl a couple times at sections, and Ellie Colbeck faced a Torali girl, and Ruby last year faced Torali, and they just kind of shut us down at that gate. But this year we were able to get past that, so that was exciting. But hopefully we can have a little bit more of that. And I talked a little bit about it because it is kind of huge. We had a group of girls come down and watch, and they saw the level of play, and a lot of these girls just live for tennis. And I mean, they look amazing. They're just textbook form and all the things, but it's all they do. And it doesn't really feel like Fergus Falls should be there with a school that's 7 times our size or something. And next year we're going to 3 classes, and I've kind of been waiting for this for basically 13 years.
Yeah.
And I think that will help our girls a little bit too. Just the mentality shift that we don't have to go down there and see Mounds View and Edina and Minnetonka and things like that.
Yeah. So Hattie Fullhart and your daughter Ashton qualified, and they opened up against Maple Grove. And there's one of those schools, one of the biggest school districts in the state. But they ran into a really, really good doubles team, didn't they?
They did. They absolutely did. And they, for the first time this year, Ashton and Hattie got double bageled. And they were 6-0, 6-0. And they actually were they fought really hard in a couple games to almost get on the board. And that's really all we could ask of them. They came out, they had a righty and a lefty whose pace we couldn't touch on their serves or their ground strokes. So basically, we were just playing defense all day. And we'd put a serve in, and their return would come back twice as fast as our serve. So we were just outmatched. The girls had a great effort. I mean, they were out there trying, and they were doing their best, and we almost got on the board, but not quite. So the first round was pretty tough for us.
Yeah. And then it was Mounds View next, and they won a few sets in that.
Yeah, well, we were right in there.
Yeah, 6-4, 6-1.
Yep, we were right in there. Almost kind of thought it should have gone our way the first set, and we just didn't quite finish things off. But still nothing to shake your head about. They were definitely a good team. They had a lot of players there from their team, and it was good stuff. I mean, the week before to get to state, or 2 weeks ago when they played at sections, they played the best tennis I've seen them play as a team. And I didn't see that at state, but it's also hard when you've got that level coming at you to just get things going, you know? So, but it was good, and it was great to have the team there. So many of the members came down and just watch what was going on and kind of take things in and see what we need to do to get ourselves to the next level.
Yeah. Talk about some of the other players that really played well. It's I know Ruby was really close, to getting there as well. But talk
Yes.
about her and some of the other
I would
players.
love to do that. So Ruby had an excellent season for us. She played one singles, which means you get their top dog every time. And Ruby, we only had like two true number ones in our section. It felt like Ruby and then this Terali from Tech. And so she handled business all year. And she's just an athlete that gets to every ball, and she's so competitive. So that was awesome for her. I thought our toughest spot this year was two singles because everybody else didn't have a real true one. So their two was kind of their stud. And Layla Zolza filled that role for us. She had our hardest job this year, I think, in that two spot. But she was so mentally tough about knowing, like, she took some lumps in the middle of the season there because you're playing some really, really good players. But she stuck to it and did what she knows to do, and was playing really, really well at the end of the season. I wish Layla could have had a chance to move on, but all things come to an end, right? And then we had Allie Bradenberg come in at three singles, which was a great kind of a surprise for us. I didn't know she'd be bumping up to three so fast. She's a die-hard athlete. She's not going to miss. She's not going to not go for a ball ever. And she worked her tail off for us. Kaya Ness in there, and Kaya's our go-to. Kaya's played third singles, fourth singles, and all three levels of doubles, depending on who her partner was. And then we had Carsey and Dilly at two dubs most of the year. They were like 23-3 throughout the season. They had a great season too. In the end of the season, we found we'd done some mixing at the bottom of the lineup there, and we found that Siri Smested and Annie Mayer came through, a couple seniors who were kind of playing their first year of real varsity, and they just killed it for us at three doubles. Just dug in and did the work. And our roster had 16 girls on it, so we had five more players, or six more players that didn't get to play all the time. And Julia Highcheck was right there. She was kind of bubbling in the mix. Annie Proudfoot as well, before she was out for injury. And then we had Avery Bartholomew, who played some varsity, Siri Antoniston Brown, Raquel Prody, and Juliana Plugstead. And all these girls, it's all 16 it takes. And we were talking about it on the drive home last night. Like, you need 10 for a varsity, but all of those girls stepped in when somebody was hurt or sick or whatever and did the job. And we just had a great core group of girls who were ready to work their tails off every day.
Yeah, what a memorable season, and it's more than tennis too. These lifelong friends, and just seeing that, isn't it fun as a coach to be involved in that?
It really is, and like such a great group of girls. And I was kind of teasing because they're good friends and they like to have fun. But I had to enter some stuff for academics. Our team GPA is a 3.975 or something. Like it's just ridiculous.
No, that is crazy. But you hardly get any three. You get like 4 or 5 in the whole class.
Yeah. No, so we have, and like Carson and Dylan don't have a GPA yet, so they're not in the mix. But
they're 8th graders.
But
right?
all these girls are just putting in the work in all the aspects, and then you'll see them go. We're going to go watch other seasons happen here with skiing and basketball and track and golf. And these girls are just successful where they go because they just have great character, and they go in and they put in the work in whatever it is they're doing.
No, that is super exciting, and what a great year for you guys, and the future looks bright too, doesn't it?
It's not looking too bad. Of course, we're going to miss. 6 of those seniors are heading out, but 8 of our 10 who played most of the time are coming back at us next year. So we're real excited about that. It's hard to switch gears and start thinking that way.
I know.
But yeah, looking forward to next year for sure, and excited to see how the 3-class system treats us or what happens to us there. So that'll be good. That'll be exciting.
Yeah, that is interesting because we're the smallest in the big class, right?
Yes,
and
128 schools.
Yeah.
And we're saying that, and like Perham is the biggest of the small. So I'm always like, Perham, if you could just get a few more kids and
Right,
swap
I know.
spots with us, that'd be great for me.
I know.
But
we talk about that a lot in all our sports.
yes,
Yeah.
but good stuff.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Jamie. Appreciate it, and what a great season. So
Yes,
great year.
appreciate all you guys do for us. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Jamie Lowe, head coach of the girls soccer team. I'm just going to set the table here for the rest of our broadcast afternoon, and then we'll sign off. Exciting football going on. We got the Otters tonight on Channel 977. That'll start at 6 o'clock, 5:45 pregame. Otter Tail Central and Border West, Bob Roars on Z103, 2 o'clock kickoff, 1:45 pregame. And I talked with Corey Fry, Hillcrest head coach. They'll take on Hancock. That's a 2 o'clock game on 977 with Jason And then New York Mills in the West Central area on KJ Country 96.5 with Charlie Newland. So a lot of sports today and a fun day. So again, thanks to all of our guests. Thanks to Jamie just wrapping up here, and also Chuck Ahmet and Dave Bishop, our studio engineers. Everybody have a great rest of the day. You've been listening to The Coaches Show.
Napa's fall filter sale is on now. Save up to 50% on the best filters in the industry. Shop Napa Auto Parts in Wapaton, Pelican Rapids, and Fergus Falls. Through October 20th, save $10 on a pair of night vision headlights. Claim a